All right, guys. Welcome to our second podcast over here on Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders. Today we've got yours truly, Brenner, aka B Runner. And right beside me we've got Wyatt and Sunshine over there. Are you awake? You ready to talk?
Oh yeah.
I'm
Blake.
incredibly ready to talk today.
All right, Wyatt, what's our first order of business today? What magical topics have you brought to the table?
Well, kind of what I wanted to talk about today is I just wanted to cover, just because it's something us three have all kind of talked about like separately with one another. I've been wanting us to just talk about what we thought of The Mandalorian. Just what did we think of season 1? What did we think of season 2? And kind of what do we expect from season 3 and onward? Like what are we expecting from it is what I would like to talk about.
All right, well, starting with season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first off, the first episode, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Not even just the fact that the twist at the end with them showing Baby Yoda, showing Grogu, did not expect it. That is the last thing I expected from them.
Yeah.
And just throwing out Baby Yoda and making him arguably the largest character in Star Wars history. They hit super hard in a casual audience with that, and I just think the series as a whole is great for just hardcore Star Wars fans. And episode 1 was a great launching point from that.
It was. It didn't hit us with too much information. It didn't hit us with too little. And it hit you with that surprise at the end to keep you wanting more with the Baby Yoda reveal. And I remember going to work and me and Blake just looked at each other in the eyes and we were like, oh, when we saw that. And it's just cool because we know nothing about Yoda's species. We don't know how many there are. We don't know how many of them there have been.
I know there have been at least 3.
Yeah, we know there have been at least 3 now with Grogu, and I'm just like, it's cool because you know that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni came up with that idea to use the Yoda species as this new character because they don't have any restrictions with it, because there is nothing out there about it. So, yeah, I thought Mandalorian season 1, especially with that first episode, it was a great jumping off point. Not giving us too much, not giving us too little, and it was just kind of enough to introduce us to the world and what we can expect moving forward into the season. And I loved every second of it when I watched it.
Oh, absolutely.
What about you, Blake?
Oof. So yeah, I mean, when I watched the first episode, I was sitting at home. I had, everything planned out. I was gonna watch this, and then I was just gonna, move on with my day. Watched it, and then I watched it again, and I watched it a third time in the same night.
Yep.
Because I was like, there's so much that I want to know about this. I'm not satisfied. I need more. Give us the next episode now.
Yep.
Everything about
every
it.
Friday.
Yeah.
Killed me. A week?
Yeah, that was.
Just dump the whole thing. Come on.
I really thought they were gonna dump the whole thing, kind of like Netflix does, but I was pleasantly surprised when they decided not to do that, because I was like, it kept the anticipation every week, and I was like, I'm on board.
It gave us something to live for another week, you know.
Well, and it travels like over time. Like you can, like you're not getting it all within a week, and you're not left having to legitimately wait a full year. Like you get through it, and it takes 2 months to watch the whole season, and then you only have to wait 10 more months for the next season. And
instead of a year, it's just 10 months. That's it.
Yeah. It seems like a lot less time, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right.
But I think moving from season 1, episode 1, I thought season 1 had a really good flow. I thought it introduced new characters really well. We got to see, I think, I just talking about the characters like the armorer, badass. That character is sick. I remember selling Black Series figures of her at Target, and those things were gone every time they got put on the shelves.
Any of the figures, they were gone. I wasn't able to get one ever. Like
Cara Dune, gone. Oh man, it was. And when they introduced us to Cara Dune, love that character. And with all the Go ahead.
There are very few misses.
Oh yeah.
On characters in this show.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Arguably, the Prison Break episode, a couple of them, I was a little. I mean, granted, it was obviously a one-off episode. Like, I didn't fall in love with many of them. But they're still, even the characters I'm iffy on are still good characters.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the Ugnaught is definitely my favorite. That's
Queel.
a lie. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Queel.
That's his name.
But I mean, and it was just good. Like I said, good flow. I think what season 1's intention was to it introduced us to the main characters that we're going to focus on. It introduced us to the main story and the main problem that they're going to have to rectify and deal with, and it introduced us to the ultimate, like, the big baddie that we're going to have to deal with in future season or seasons, which it did touch on in season 2, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But I just thought it was a very good stepping stone season that really opened up the world, the galaxy of Star Wars that we don't know from the 20 years between episode 6 and episode 7.
It did really open up the world and give us that bridging gap, especially into season 2. But just building the relationships in this season between Grogu and the Mandalorian, between Cara Dune and the Mandalorian, between all of the characters, between Mando and the droid even.
Yeah, IG-88 or IG-11.
Oh my god.
IG-88 is the one from 5.
That is what I loved about the show. They really took the time to build the relationships and not just make a gun-happy, boom boom pow Mandalorian show, which I was very scared they would.
Yeah. And
when they introduced Baby Yoda, I was like, ooh, maybe they're not. Maybe this is going to be a well thought out series.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, with who's producing it, I had very, very few doubts. But coming on the heels of episode 8.
Yeah. And I
have a toss up.
Here's the thing. Moving into kind of when we started to reveal who the big baddie was near the end of the season, we got to kind of see him. He gave up the child. He got the Beskar. He got the armor, which was cool.
It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that armor's pretty sweet. And then he goes back to try. He goes and gets the child back, and then we finally get the reveal of who the big baddie is, and it's Moff Gideon, who we then find out near the end of the season wants the child for specific reasons.
And we'll get into that in season 2.
And we get into that in season 2, but he really wants the child. He really wants Grogu, and if I wanted to get into the negatives of the show, which I do kind of, I'm curious to see if you guys had any like negatives that you had with season 1. I kind of want to hear, Blake, what were some negatives that you had with season 1?
Oh,
what were some issues you had? Because
thinking back, really nothing stands out too much with me.
I'm in the same way. I'm in the same boat. Season
2 for sure. There was a few things.
They
weren't terrible, but season 1, not a lot. To be honest with you, and if there was anything, it's so minuscule that I don't even remember.
Yeah, I agree. It's like my season 1 negatives are I'd have to literally go back and rewatch the season completely one more time to see if I can find anything. But just off the top of my head right now, season 1, and Brenner, you and I talked about this a little bit a while back. Season 1 is a very good, safe season.
It is.
They played it safe.
They played it safe with very few risks. I think the only risk they took was Baby Yoda.
Yes, which
Just
blew up.
Which blew up and was very much a good bet. But I can't think of I can't think of any negatives.
Yeah, from season 1.
Every
I can't.
episode
Actually
has a purpose.
I do have one.
I also think I have one.
Everyone calling him Baby Yoda drives me up the damn wall. Up the wall.
What else are we supposed to call him?
The child.
The child. That's what
That's
Favreau
child.
said. But if Favreau did
You're
say
wrong.
that. Favreau did say he goes, we did call him Baby Yoda on set, but he is the child.
He's Baby Yoda.
He's not Baby Yoda because that would imply he's Yoda as a child. It's not Baby Yoda. Like that. That's my biggest
I know what it
issue.
implies, but I know that's not what it is.
I don't care. It's so stupid that people call him Baby Yoda. It's the child, or now he has a name. It's Grogu. Come on.
It's Grogu that's mentioned like twice. Give me a second to adapt, and then I'll refer to him as Grogu. But Baby Yoda's just jammed into my head.
Yeah.
No.
My one negative that I can think of is probably the Prison Break episode. As much as
I was gonna say
loved
the same
episode, I love it. It was so different from the rest of the season. It really didn't have any. They could have taken that out and it wouldn't have stopped anything happening in the series. At all. Like, it was very much what I would call a filler episode.
Yeah.
It was just there to hit that 8 episode mark.
Yep.
And it did bring good elements. I did love watching it.
Yep.
But looking back, like, it really didn't matter if it was there.
Yep. Well, and because they all either ended up jailed or dead. And I think my favorite part was the setting up of the I think the best part about that episode was the ending when they were leaving and the 3 X-Wings show up.
Yep.
And it's Deborah Chow, Rick Famuyiwa, and Dave Filoni, all the directors, and I love how they come into the shot, and you can just tell since defeating the Empire, they have been bored out of their minds because they're just answering to little situations like this.
Yep.
And it's like, yep, looks like there's a ship leaving. Yep, looks like they're charging up the weapons. Yep, we should fire photon torpedoes. And it just seems like they're done. They defeated the Empire and now they're just dealing with these little prison breaks.
Oh yeah, and you're right. But after thinking about it a little more and thinking into what happens in season 2, this episode has a lot more consequence than I originally thought. Just in season 1, there was nothing there, but bridging into season 2, it does have some substance into what happens in season 2.
Yes, it does.
And that slipped my mind for whatever reason. My negatives have now gone back down to 0.
Yes.
After watching season 2.
But before we get into season 2, because I do want to dive into that finale from season 1, because that finale is where they started to basically tell the fans there's going to be some crazy shit that happens in season 2.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know what you guys thought of that, but dude, seeing
my
him,
jaw dropped.
Oh god,
my jaw dropped.
Blake, I don't know if I think you and I talked. I don't think you and I have talked about it since it aired, but that I was sitting in my living room watching it with my wife, and when we got the shot of the Jawas by the TIE fighter and just seeing it stab through the exterior of the TIE, and I was like, oh my god, he's got a light. Wait a minute.
Wait.
And I just saw it kept going up in a square, and it opened, and he walked out. I went, my jaw dropped, and I was like, no way.
Well, and if you don't watch like the Clone Wars, or even like I guess Rebels, that wouldn't have as much of a impact.
No, it wouldn't. It is in Clone Wars. It's if you haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels, you definitely don't have that impact. Exactly.
Also, I just want to say I have the Darksaber on pre-order, and I'm very excited
Yeah, I need to get
to have it up behind me.
I bet that's gonna be cool. What'd you think, Blake? What was your reaction?
Well, my neighbors were very angry at me that. It was pretty much like my reaction anytime I win like a battle royale or something. I was like, "Let's go!" I was so excited.
Oh, man, dude. Well, and see, here's the thing, because Rhiannon and I we're watching literally from we're watching from episode 1, Phantom Menace. We watched episode 2, then we watched all of Clone Wars, then we watched episode 3. Now we're on then we watched Solo. Now we're on Rebels.
Speaking of episode 3, did you see that there's a 4.5-hour supercut?
I did.
With all of... I'm watching that. Mm-hmm. I might do that tonight.
But because the reason why we're doing that is because she had not watched Rebels all the way through. She had not watched Clone Wars all the way through. And her and I, when she saw my reaction to the Darksaber at the end of season 1 of Mando, she's like, I want those reactions. She's like, I want to have those reactions because I don't get those reactions. And she's like, because when I saw that, all I thought was, oh, that's a cool black lightsaber. And
that's also the general consensus about Baby Yoda.
Yeah, yeah.
Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, I was. That was, and just leading that in, I think that's a good segue to go into season 2 because obviously, us as, like I said, I coined this from, I take this from Den of Nerds. He has a good. There's Star Wars sweaties and there's Star Wars normies, and us as Star Wars sweaties, we knew that Moff Gideon was a part of the Purge of Mandalore. That's the only reason he would have gotten that weapon, that Darksaber. Yep. So he was a part of the Purge of Mandalore, which leading into season 2, I thought we were going to see more of, but again, a positive surprise and a pleasant surprise. We're not going to see we did not see the Purge of Mandalore yet, and I'm thinking we're not going to see that till season 3. I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of shocked we didn't see anything with the Purge of Mandalore in season 2.
I feel like that may be another series they do. I don't know if that's something they're going to completely... They may touch on it. I just don't think it's going to be a huge focus.
Yeah.
For season 3.
Mm-hmm.
But...
See, and I kind of disagree with you, but we'll get into that.
Just starting out with season 2. I mean, first of all... My jaw, once again, dropped immediately.
Yep.
Because all I saw was Boba Fett's helmet, and I was like...
Yep.
What?
Yep.
I mean, like, obviously it was speculated. During season 2, during season 1, we completely skipped that episode. But, like, it was speculated. And I was expecting him to show up eventually. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a show about Mandalorians, essentially.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got to show up.
Yep.
He's got to. And then I see his armor, and it's not Boba Fett. I was like, these son of a guns.
Yep.
These rascals teasing me with a good time.
And I knew it wasn't going to be him. I had a feeling it was going to be Cobb Vanth, but...
And I mean, like, one, that episode was so insane just to start out with.
Yep.
Barring that moment, like, his armor was out of the Sarlacc pit. So I was assuming he probably was as well.
Yeah.
But it was just a matter of figuring out where he was.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously at the end of the episode, he's just standing there. And once again, my jaw just...
Ooh! Yeah, I know.
He's there!
Yep. He was watching him. Yep. And Blake, did you play the KOTOR games? I think you did, right? Obviously.
Really? Of course.
Dumb question.
Obviously.
Dumb question, I know.
Yeah, very dumb question.
What was your thought of the whole getting the pearl, the Krayt Dragon pearl? Because that goes directly back to KOTOR, and I was like, Blake's gonna love this.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I loved how they brought the Krayt Dragon, but I felt like, and this is just kind of a nitpick, but them finding a pearl, and I was like, it's super rare to begin with if a Krayt Dragon dies. It's super rare to get a pearl. That particular one to have a pearl, I was like, all right, that's a little far fetched because like they're just wanting to call back, but that's fine because now they're calling back.
It's fan service.
It's definitely fan service, but it just brings it that much closer for KOTOR to be canon, like fully canonized.
Yep. It is, yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to talk about this later, but it is heavily rumored that it is coming back.
KOTOR?
And it is also heavily rumored that Ubisoft is heading the project.
Yep.
Like I said in the last podcast. But
see,
that's for later.
That's for a later video. I won't get into it. I'll save my opinion on that later. Anyways, back to like Boba Fett and all that stuff. I had the deepest feeling that Boba Fett was returning. I mean, when Finnick was thought to have died, and you see those feet on Tatooine right next to her, I was like, yeah, that's Boba. That's Boba right there. I don't care what anyone else says. That's Boba. It's Boba.
I think you and I argued a little bit at work about it because I too thought it was Boba, but I also was like, there's no way that they're gonna do that. So I was thinking like Cad Bane.
Yeah, you were thinking Cad Bane, but I was saying Boba. I was like, dude, it's Boba mainly because how many fans and Favreau Favreau himself has been like, they love Boba. They love what fans have done with Boba. They loved what Legends did with Boba. And then they made a canonized comic series about Boba escaping, So I'm like, yeah, it's Boba. That's who it is. And then the end of episode 1 came, and I was like, oh! My neighbors hated me.
We came to work. I came to work, I think, the next day or something like that. The next day you and I worked together, you were like...
I just stared at you. I just stared at you, and I was like...
I walked up to you, and you go, I told you.
You were wrong, Wyatt.
And I was like, hey, I agreed to a point. I was like, I wanted it to be Boba, but I didn't think they were going to do it because, again, I thought they just hit us with that I was like, they were so safe with the fan service in season 1, and then they go into they finish out season 1 with that Darksaber fan service, and then I was like, season 2 is going to be full of it, and I'm ready for that. And Favreau and Filoni do fan service the right way. And I think what they did in season 2 was they hit us with that episode 1, and then we got hit with kind of the slower episode 2 on the ice planet.
Hold on. Slower? There were spiders everywhere. What do you mean?
Ice planet, you were asking me,
it's
about
a side quest.
Yeah, exactly.
Hard side quest.
When I talked to you about it, Blake, I said it's like The Witcher. It's like you have that main story that you're doing, but to further you along in the main story, you have to do these side quests to help.
I didn't hate it.
I
really didn't hate it.
Side point.
But
I have not watched The Witcher yet, so let's.
No. I meant the game. I meant the video game.
Oh, okay.
Like in the video game, that's why I was saying the show felt like a video game.
It has to be said though. Where have you been? Come on. Let's go. Get on that Netflix right now. Like
I know. Every time I always think about it, but then like I'm at work or something, I can't watch it, and then it leaves my mind, and I start watching something else.
But I felt like season 2 had much more of a like, hey, we're gonna hit you in the face with this crazy reveal, and then here's this little side quest episode, like to get you to calm down a little bit. Like I felt like that's what they did a lot of that.
I think I disliked that episode so much because it wasn't a bad episode. I disliked it so much because of that reveal. So it had an adverse, I had an adverse reaction to it because I was like, yo, you just showed me the one thing I've been wanting, and you ain't giving it to me. Where is it? Let's go.
Well, and then they made you wait 5 episodes.
It was
because they didn't bring him back for 5 episodes, and I loved that he's been following him around for 5 episodes.
Yep.
And I just like we got the ice spiders, which was a callback to the original Ralph McQuarrie concept art for Empire Strikes Back, which also tied into Rebels with the spiders on Chopper Base. I was like, that's cool. I was like, they're just connecting everything. Like, that's
you mean
the
vibe check spiders?
The vibe check spiders. Yeah.
He don't pass the 5. Beat his ass.
Yeah. But I thought it was, I thought season 2 was well directed. And then I can't remember. Oh, season 3 was getting episode 3 was the Heiress? That was the one with Bo-Katan, right?
Yes, that's where he gets to the water or the docks.
Right.
And
Holy shit. Let's talk about this real quick. Just a side note to us talking about how Brenner, how you brought up how they did such a great job with characters. People wanted a show with Frog Lady. That's how well character
That's a meme.
development.
That's a meme.
But
That's
people,
a meme.
but you can't tell me that just because of just what she did in one episode, people loved it so much that they made it a meme. And yeah, maybe it was a joke, but it was still meme worthy.
No, you're right. And honestly, I love that episode. It was it was a side quest, and my qualms with the Prison Break episode should directly be the same with this, but it's not.
Yeah.
I loved this episode.
See, I
as
think
much
it's
as I
my
was
least.
like, I want Boba, I let it slide because I knew he was coming.
Yeah.
I know he's here. That's just like at the end of a Marvel movie, your little sprinkle a teaser.
Yeah.
Is it bad that I loved the little controversy that episode came out? The stupid controversy about
About
Grogu's
eating the
eating eggs.
Oh,
That's terrible.
That's so funny.
It was great.
I loved how he's like no, don't do it. He's like, it's like literally, he's like a dad. I loved it.
Then you had like people going, "We're so sorry that a fictional character ate fictional unfertilized eggs of a fictional race in a fictional galaxy. We didn't mean to hurt feelings."
Far away.
He's an amphibian race. He's learning more about his. He's learning.
Are you saying Yoda's
He had a taste for caviar. Sorry.
I think he's partially an amphibian race. I think he could be partially an amphibian race.
If anything, he's a reptile. We'll leave Yoda's anatomy to another episode because I don't feel like having a heated debate about this.
Oh no,
right
we don't
now.
need to get into it. I was just.
I
my
don't-
theory.
See,
As
honestly,
much as I think you're wrong.
yeah, I don't know.
But
he's got hair.
Here's
though.
the deal.
That's the thing.
What I think the purpose it served was, I really do think it served the purpose of, it seemed like he was kind of learning, because he was learning about life, and that kind of tied into season 3. Episode 3. Because he started, when Mando went off and left Grogu with Frog Lady and Frog Guy, he saw them hatching, and he was kind of learning about life a little bit.
Yep.
It just seemed like he was kind of respecting life and where things, like, because he didn't see that. He was eating them. He didn't know what they were. He thought they were food, which in some countries it is food. But he was like, he didn't know what it was, and being with Frog Lady and seeing the eggs hatch, he was starting to see that it was life. Like, he's starting to learn that that there's living things, and this is how life is created. And I just thought it was cool because he is still a child and he's learning all of that, and it felt like it was connecting more and building more on his story too, which was really cool.
It really was.
But he is also 50 years old.
Exactly, but that's child to his race that we, as far as we know.
Yes, you're correct.
Because in
He
High
still has
Republic,
50 years of knowledge.
it's true.
Does he though? Like,
But
he's been hidden away.
He's been in the
this
Jedi
entire way.
Temple. He was in the. He would have been, because this is how many years? This is what, 20 or 21 years after, 24 years or 25 years after Episode 3, correct?
Yep.
So
Sounds about right.
and he was in the temple then, so he would have been in the temple from his infancy, so it would have been like, which it's still technically now.
Technically, he's still an infant.
Well, yeah, but it would have been like him being 1 or 2 years old.
Yeah.
Until
10
he
years.
was about 25.
I mean, for 10 years, he was probably what we know as a newborn. He couldn't speak.
And
he didn't know what you were saying. So
he doesn't know about. He never learned that stuff because what we know about the Jedi Temple is they would have just been teaching him everything. Like
Yeah.
he wouldn't have learned the meaning of life. He wouldn't have learned about all of that stuff. Like he was learning that because
I feel
he's
like
learning
that's
that
definitely
outside.
touched upon in Jedi teachings, but
Well,
In the
let's
new
just
Jedi
say,
teachings, but not in the ones that they were teaching at the Jedi
yeah,
Temple
because
during
at this
prequel era.
at this point, the Jedi didn't start becoming true Jedi again until the end, when Yoda finally realized we've been doing everything wrong.
Yeah,
Because
Yoda started to,
under Mace Windu's teachings and stuff, the Jedi were pompous. They thought they were the greatest things, in the galaxy. They're like, oh, we're so above everything else. Like,
Yep.
it's that's the whole point of, again, a little off topic, but that's the whole point on the downfall of Anakin Skywalker, is because they thought they were above everything else. They're like, oh, you cannot have any emotion. You cannot feel love whatsoever, when you can. And the High Republic touches upon that. It's just like, these Jedi have wives, they have husbands, they have significant others. Like, it's
and
a
Grogu
thing.
was seeing that. Grogu was seeing the love of family. Like he wasn't seeing that, because what he would have known is what Obi-Wan was taught. Anakin was telling Obi-Wan that he was having dreams of his mother being killed, and Obi-Wan's like, just
push it away. Go away. Just pretend it's not happening.
It's fine. Your mother's fine. They're just dreams. It's nothing's going wrong. That's the path to the dark side. And like, Grogu would have seen the same teachings, because that's what Obi-Wan was taught. He was that even if you're having these connections with your family, you love your family. It doesn't matter. Like, get rid of it.
But if
you
he's
can't have
taken
this
as an
attachment.
infant, he wouldn't even know his family.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's seeing in that moment. He's seeing the love of family. Like, he's seeing,
because he's seeing Frog Leggy and Frog Guy treat these newborns with love, and they're even treating him with love, even though he's basically a complete stranger. They welcome into him into their home. Yeah. They fed him. They cared for him while Mando was off, and Mando could have been gone for a year even, because like, when he's off on another planet, time's going differently. It's the science crap, but
and it also ties into what you were saying about Yoda, Blake. Dave Filoni was even saying that in, I don't know if you guys watched the inside, what was it, like the inside the episodes or whatever, the
Inside the Mandalorian.
I did not watch that.
You didn't watch that, Brenner?
I did not.
Ooh, I need to send you that. I need to send you that quote from Filoni, man.
The dual fates. His whole thing on the dual fates.
My entire outlook on the Duel of Fates, which is why Episode 1 is now one of my favorite movies.
Yep.
That is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. He basically says, he goes, the Duel of the Fates is titled the Duel of the Fates because it's the duel for the fate of Anakin, the two fates of Anakin Skywalker. It's the duel for his fate. If Qui-Gon lives and trains Anakin, Anakin doesn't go to the dark side. If Qui-Gon dies, he goes to the dark side, because now Obi-Wan is his master. And it's because he says, he goes, if Qui-Gon was his master, he said, if Anakin would have gone to him and said, hey, I'm having these dreams about my mother, like he did with Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon would have said, all right, I'm dropping everything and I'm going to go with you. And we're going to go check on her. Because he knows that he still believes that Jedi are supposed to love and Jedi are supposed to care. And none of the other Jedi believe that, which is why they don't like Qui-Gon, because they know that that's not what the Jedi are supposed to know. Like, that's not what the Jedi are supposed to teach, which is why they are reluctant about having him on the council. And in Jedi and in the Master and Apprentice book about him and Obi-Wan, Yoda goes to him and reluctantly says, do you want to be on the council? And he ultimately ends up turning it down. He does want to do it, but he turns it down because he knows that they're just not going to listen to him. They're putting him on to save face, and he knows that they're not going to listen to him anyway. So he chooses not to, because he thinks he can make more of a difference by kind of being freelance and doing whatever he wants, because they're not going to be able to do anything to him anyway. And he knows that he teaches that they're still supposed to care and love, and Obi-Wan doesn't get that. And Yoda starts to realize that by the end of the Clone Wars.
Once he experiences the living Force like Qui-Gon has.
Yep.
Qui-Gon's Force Ghost is the one that teaches Yoda. He shows him the way to Dagobah, and on Dagobah, Yoda learns the
How to
living
connect.
force is a thing,
Yeah.
and he
But
connects.
is
to
Qui-Gon a full Force ghost?
Qui-Gon didn't complete his training. He was able to speak through the Force, like in Clone Wars, but he's not able to manifest himself like Yoda and Obi-Wan are able to.
The only
But Qui-Gon
time
shows them how to.
he was able to manifest himself on I forgot the episode where
Force
the
planet.
son, the daughter, and the
I
father.
mean, that's because that's literally the Force.
It's the
yeah,
Force,
yeah, that
yeah.
was the Force. So he was able to manifest himself to Obi-Wan there, and let him know what's going on. But that's because, he was allowed to, because that was the Force.
Yeah, he was able to connect to the legit Force. But
that episode shows you how blind the Jedi truly were at that time, because they had no idea Force ghosts exist.
Mm-hmm.
They had no idea there was dark side ghosts. They had no idea. They're like, the Force, there's no way to manifest yourself through it. And it's just like, actually, there was,
I mean, technically.
Yeah. But to tie that back into Mando, it does show, though, that Grogu is learning something else than he's been taught for 25 years. Because he would have been in hiding for 20 years. So now, knowing nothing but fear. So now he's starting to experience the love that Mando is showing him. He's starting to experience the love that Frog Lady and Frog Guy are showing to their newborn, their children. He's seeing them hatch. He's seeing the love that they care. And you see them when they're petting the child. They're showing him, like, this is how you do it. This is how you show love. And I'm just like, it really does show that he's learning, and he's getting older, and he's learning, and he's kind of progressing. And that's why, when that then ties into an episode coming up here that we'll talk about, it shows more of his split and where he's stuck. But we got off track, because that's what happens, and that's why we're doing this. But Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan.
Dude. Oh.
I was not expecting her to show up, honestly.
See, I knew she was going to be in the show, but I didn't know it was going to be that episode.
Yeah.
Because I knew they casted Katie Sackhoff to play her. And Katie
tried to not pay too much attention to that, because I didn't want to spoil the series.
Uh-huh. And I ruin that stuff for me sometimes because of the stuff I follow.
Yeah, that's the main reason. Whenever Wyatt starts talking about, like, possibilities, I'm like, shh.
No. Don't do that.
We're not doing that.
We talk after.
But no, Katie Sackhoff, who does the voice in Clone Wars and in Rebels, bringing her back to do it in the show, I thought was great.
Yep.
I just thought that was awesome, and she did a great job. I loved seeing Sasha Banks from WWE was cool. And the rumor that she was going to be Sabine Wren was interesting. I didn't think she was. I thought there was a possibility, but I didn't think she was going to be. I thought she was just going to be one of the Night Owls with Bo-Katan. But I think my favorite part of that episode was not them attacking the light cruiser or meeting Bo-Katan. It was the meeting with Bo-Katan and then them taking their helmets off.
Yep.
And us learning that Din, which we do find out of it later that his name is Din, in season 1, but Din is a part of this, like, cult of Mandalorians called Children of the Watch, and who were saved by the Death Watch, where the Death Watch teach them the old ways of the Mandalore, where you're not supposed to reveal your face to anyone. Your helmet must stay on at all times when you're around others. And I'm like, huh. So that's why. Because they were contradicting everything. Because I'm like, Mandalorians took their helmets off all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bo-Katan took her helmet off, and I was like, I love the guy behind her goes, he's one of them. And I was like, oh, what's going on here?
One of who? Hold on.
More layers. And we found out what he was a part of, and her saying, I love how she connected to him. And I love how, like, she kept using this is the way. Like, which was his creed.
Yep.
And like it was his group's creed, and she was using it to show him that you're not the only Mandalorians out there, and you're not the only ones that believe this creed, but it is the way, but it isn't the only way. And I'm like, I'm on board. I like it. I mean, we're adding.
She
more
almost
layers.
she almost used it as like a little kick.
It was a jab.
This
it was a jab.
is the way, and I was like, oh, I loved it. I thought that was great.
Yep. But it was, man. And that's only 3 episodes in, dude. And I was just, everything else we were seeing. And me and Rihanna hadn't even gotten to that part in Clone Wars yet. So when I saw Bo-Katan show up, I was like freaking out. And she was like, who's this?
Why are you freaking out? It's just another Mandalorian.
But
I'm confused.
It was cool. And then I can't remember. And then at the end, what was it? The end of the episode. Oh, he brings up that I was tasked to bring this one to its kind, other Jedi, and she goes, "What do you know of the Jedi?" And he's like, "Nothing." She's like, "I can lead you to one of their kind," and I was like, I know who this is.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the next thing we need to talk about from this season.
I mean, we are skipping an episode, but
season 4, episode 4 was what was that episode? Oh, that was when we saw Cara Dune again, and
yep.
Yeah.
They go to the base. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They
which was another
we get
episode.
introduced to the
Good
blue
episode.
macaroons.
Yeah, yeah. That was such a good scene. But I love Grief Karga, great character. I forgot to talk about Carl Weathers, and that being his like directorial debut. That episode, that was awesome episode. It was a great episode. Nothing
Tied it
big
in,
to really
you know,
talk about,
tied
but
it
was a
into
good episode.
the cloning stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We saw the Snokes in the tanks.
Mm-hmm.
We saw what.
Wait. Hold on. What?
Dude, pause
Did I miss something?
Pause it in that episode. There's at the end of the when they're in the base.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, when they're in the base, they go. They get into this little area, and there's like 2 other cloners, and they shoot the cloners and kill them, and they're looking around, and there's these tanks full of misshapen clones, and they're pretty sure when you look close enough, they're Snoke. They look like Snoke.
There's also, this is the ending where it shows the Dark Troopers,
and this is where we see the Dark Troopers at the end. Yeah. So we got a little glimpse of what looked like them trying to create Snoke, or a possible Palpatine clone that was completely misshapen, and that was also where we heard Dr. Pershing says trying to extract his M count, or we have failed to find another donor with a substantial M count or something like that.
Yep.
So we knew that they wanted Grogu to take his blood for his M count to put into these clones to create them and make them strong with the Force. So that's when we learned what they were trying to do with Grogu, and I was like, oof. So much happening.
Oh yeah. Okay,
So
I just
much.
found that part.
Mm-hmm.
I just found the part. You're right.
So they were there. That ties in. That's the first real direct tie into the sequels, which I have more to talk about that at the end.
That's a lie.
But
That is a sham, sir.
what do you mean?
Force healing. In episode 7 of season 1,
Huh?
when Grogu heals, oh god,
Oh, he heals Grief.
yes, that is a tie to the sequels.
Oh,
Technically, if we're
See,
getting real
I
technical.
wouldn't even say technically. I mean, Force healing's been around a long time. You
It
have to
has,
be
it's-
super.
Okay,
You
but
just have to be canon.
canon?
Yes, canon. Canonically, especially in the comics. The comics are mostly canon. If you're super strong in the Force, you can Force heal.
Mm-hmm. But that episode, even though it was a filler episode for about 40 minutes. Well, it's actually 40 minutes long. It was a filler episode for about 30 minutes. And then that last 10 minutes hit us with so much. Like,
Yeah.
oh crap, that's Snoke. Oh crap, they're using Grogu for his M count. Oh my god, Dark Troopers.
Yep.
Like, they were just hitting us with so much at the end of that
The
episode.
thought process through the last of that episode.
My brain
a
was
dog.
everywhere. But and then we just roll right into episode 5 where they didn't waste any time at all. First scene, guys running away, and boom, white lightsabers ignite, and I'm just, oof. They got the sound. Yeah, it was perfect.
That episode started at a dead sprint.
it was
not
on the
stop.
ground, and it was going. But
that episode started like if you put a treadmill at full speed and then just jump on.
yeah, right, and you face
and you're trying to keep up.
Yep.
Such a oh my god, that episode's so good.
To start off, I'm gonna start with Blake.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts on Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano.
Very good. Very good. I was excited from the start. Like when I found out she was cast as Ahsoka, I was like, yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm a fan of Rosario, so I was super excited, basically to find out she was gonna be Ahsoka, and I was more than happy, to watch it. And when I did see it, I wasn't, disappointed whatsoever.
Yeah.
She brought the character to life.
Yeah. Yes, she did.
In live action in a big way for me.
I agree completely. And I was in the camp of people. I think you and I were both in the camp of people that were definitely agreeing on the idea that we wanted that we were big on the fan cast of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano.
Oh yeah.
And I think just her acting prowess, her stunts, what she's able to do as a stunt actress, her looks, and the fact that she's just a phenomenal actor. Like, her fighting skills in the episode were great. When we see her, and her look was beautiful. I think she was phenomenal. And I understand why people were upset about her being a Togruta species, and some people call them the Lekis, but like her tendrils. People didn't like how short they were, and I went, okay, go ask the actress who played Shaak Ti in the prequels. She could barely move in those things. They made it for stunt, but they're also not small enough to the point that it bugged me. I was like, okay, they're a little small, but I don't care.
I look at it as her being older. They fit her more.
Yeah, she's older, and she maybe grew physically a little bit more, and now they're not as long as they were. But I felt like actually in Rebels they were too damn long. But I mean,
yeah, I could see it.
But I mean, that being the only thing that I can see people having an issue with, I thought she did beautifully. She nailed the voice. I mean, obviously she's not Ashley Eckstein, so she's not going to have the same voice, but she nailed the vocal pattern.
Absolutely.
When she spoke, I was like, oh my god, that's Ahsoka. The voice is different, obviously, but when I hear Ashley Eckstein, and I think of how I could compare it to Rosario might just be an older Ahsoka. Her voice is aging, because your voice is supposed to age as well. When I heard Ahsoka in Rebels, I'm like, she still sounds like her teenage self.
Yeah.
From Clone Wars.
When, and that, she just did a good job, we finally... Yeah. I feel like Ahsoka is finally getting the respect she deserves, and, because, let's be honest, Ahsoka was slept on hard, especially when she was in Clone Wars.
Was she, though?
Yes. Very much so, it was just so bad with people saying there are hardly any, prevalent female characters in Star Wars, and it's just like, well, you have Leia, of course, you always have Leia.
Padme.
I'm gonna agree in that situation.
We're gonna just go past Padme because of reasons, but
Padme.
I'm gonna agree with you.
I'll say it again.
I have a deep hatred for Rey And then when Rey came out, you know, and everyone's like, "Oh, finally a strong female character," I was like, can we talk about
that
Ahsoka? And I will talk about Padme there. I was like, Padme was like far better than Rey. I'm just gonna say that now. Like,
I don't think Ahsoka is necessarily slept on. I just don't think a lot of people watched the Clone Wars to know who she was.
That's
because I know many Star Wars fans who have not watched Clone Wars.
But that's where I'll agree with Blake to a point.
And that's just a stigma.
That's a problem then, because
hold on real quick. Hold on. My agreement with Blake to a point is when he said, I don't think people would think of Ahsoka as a prominent female hero in Star Wars, because I don't think they really thought about Clone Wars or connected it to the story, like the full-on story. Because I don't think at that point, people didn't really know what those meant to the story yet.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I'll disagree and say I don't think she was slept on by fans of Clone Wars and stuff like that, because Dave Filoni made a super legitimate effort to go, she's terrible for 2.5 seasons to 3 seasons, but here's 4 and 5 to make her to make her much better. So he made her, like, the reason she's one of my top 3 favorite characters is because her character development is incredibly profound. It's insane how well her character development is, and
not even just hers, but also Anakin's in the Clone Wars.
Exactly. Like, the Clone Wars makes me like Anakin much more. Like,
oh yeah,
yep.
I still hate him in 2. But Clone Wars makes him
in 2.
Clone Wars makes him much better for 3. Like, I loved him in 3 already, and Clone Wars made him better for that.
A lot of people should hate Luke from Episode 4 if they hate Anakin from Episode 2. And I don't think many people make the connection that they're both whiny children.
Oh, I don't love Luke in 4. I don't love Luke in 4, but that's my biggest comparison.
Oh, I thought you said you did. I was about to say, hold on.
No. When people
I wanted to go shoot womp rats.
I wanted to go hang out with my friends at Toshi
there's only so much you can do
and
with
get some
lightsabers,
power
man.
converters.
No, when people talk about Luke in Episode 4, I'm always like, they're always like, God, he's such a whiny brat, and I went, yeah, you know who his dad is? Watch Episode 2. Like, that's his dad. That's why Anakin was made that way in 2. Still makes me hate the freaking movie because it's so bad. He's not good at play.
Trash.
Yeah,
I have a trash opinion.
Okay.
As a child, Episode 2 is one of my favorites.
Ugh.
Because lightsabers.
The lightsaber fights were good. The Battle of Geonosis was cool.
Oh my god. The action was spot on in that movie. Everything else was a misstep.
Yeah.
Anytime Anakin opened his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the women. Or not just the men. But the women and the children too.
Yeah.
And then Padme's still like, I'm gonna marry you.
Yeah.
This is a good choice.
The fact that she didn't walk out of there and just go, dude, you're messed up. Like, that's what a normal person does. But, well, and it's like, he's like using a screen. He's like, I don't like sand. It's coarse.
It's coarse.
And it gets everywhere.
And it gets everywhere. Like, it's just, I love George Lucas, man, but he can't write love.
I gotta agree with you on that. Like, if somebody I cared for I totally just wiped out an entire village full of people, and I'm fine about it.
Hold on.
Like,
wait a minute.
Let's
rewind that real quick. What did you just say?
If I would say, like, if you, like, I consider us really good friends. If we were there hanging out and you go, I killed them, and not just the men, the women and the children too. I'd
be like, all right, I'm gonna head out.
Hey, I'm gonna go. I'm totally not gonna call the authorities.
No.
But give me 10 minutes, I'll be back. Maybe. And
maybe.
Like, I wouldn't trust to be around you. Like,
exactly.
And then, like, in Episode 3, when Obi-Wan's like, I saw a video hologram of him killing younglings. No, not Anakin. He totally didn't kill women and children on Tatooine.
He didn't tell Obi-Wan about that, though.
I know, but he admitted it to Padme.
And Padme kept her mouth shut.
But Padme couldn't believe that he killed younglings in the Jedi Temple? That's what I'm saying. Like, when Obi-Wan told her that, she just seemed so shocked and was like, oh, Anakin wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you would.
He didn't,
I mean,
he totally didn't kill children and women on Tatooine.
do we want to run back the tape real quick?
Let's be honestly though, like, you guys remember that episode?
We're getting off track, but
Just a little.
That's what I love about this, though. That we're able to just talk. Like, we have time to just do this, but we are kind of off track. But we just started talking about character development, and then
Jedi, and then
How-
well, I mean, the bridges were there.
they were. We connected everything, but
All right, back to Mandalorian.
but I want to skip ahead, and I want to talk about how she was talking about training him and just seeing her there, and when she's connecting like through the Force with him, like they're like speaking through the Force, and that's when we learned his name and stuff like that. And she says his name, and she's like, he was raised at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Many masters trained him over the years, and then the Empire rose to power. Someone took him from the temple and hid him. We still don't know who that was. I still have a theory it could be R2-D2, but I don't know, man. I'm just like hearing her explain that it just tied more stuff together, and it connected more dots, and I'm just like, so he's been around. We'll see more of that, and I was just. And then she refuses to train him because of his connection to Mando, and she goes, I've seen what such feelings can do to the most powerful of Jedi, the best of us. And I was like, oh God, my heart. I was like,
that singular line.
I was like, my heart. And she didn't even have to mention him by name, and all of the best Star Wars, all of the in-depth Star Wars fans were like, oh.
You know, yeah, that was definitely a deep.
That was deep, man.
Line. You know what would have been awesome? This is just something I was thinking of after I watched it, you know, like 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to like input my own like little sound bit in there, just like when she mentions it, just have Vader's breathing.
Oh, could you have imagined?
I would have lost it.
Yeah, I just and it's just like when he says that he'd be willing to help her and stuff like that, and he goes, a Mandalorian and a Jedi, they'll never see it coming, and then they get ready to fight. I have a little bit of information. I don't know if you guys watched that video I sent you, but
which one?
I sent
you sent us a lot.
I know. It was the one where they're talking about the scene that was originally supposed to be in that episode, but they apparently took it out because they wanted to save it for the Ahsoka series.
I did not watch that.
Okay. So what happened was, in that scene, apparently a scene that they shot from an insider at Lucasfilm who was on set, there's a reason they took it out, and I'll tell you that in just a sec. But when he's walking away with Grogu, she's kind of looking at him as they're walking away, and the camera turns and you see her, and you hear a voice behind her go, "You've done well, young one." And the camera turns and she turns around and Anakin is standing there.
I think you may have told me about that. I may not have watched it.
The Force Ghost Anakin is standing there, and she goes, "Hello, Master," and they talk and they joke around, and he calls her Snips, and says all this stuff to her, and he goes, he looks over her shoulder and he looks at Grogu and he goes, "That one is very powerful with the Force," and she goes, "Yes, he is. The Mandalorian wants me to train him," and Anakin shakes his head and goes, "No. You have much more pressing matters that concern you, or that you need to take care of." And she goes, "Yes," and he goes, "But you will tell him to take him to Tython. There he will reach out in the Force and connect with a Jedi that will need to train him." And she goes,
"We have talked about this."
And she goes,
"I remember this."
She goes, "Your son, the one who destroyed the Empire," and he goes, "Yes. There is much he needs to learn." And then that's where that ends. And I'm like, oh, that should have been in there. But the reason it wasn't in there apparently was because they hadn't announced that Hayden Christensen was coming back yet, because Disney Investors Day had not happened. And
there's that, and then it takes the entire surprise of the finale out.
And
So I'm glad it wasn't there for that fact.
Yep.
But that's so good.
But that was originally supposed to be in there, but apparently they took that out, and that is going to be, from what they're saying, the rumor is that will be literally the very first scene of the Ahsoka Tano series.
I'm so excited.
Because now Hayden Christensen is confirmed, and apparently Hayden Christensen has been on most of these sets and apparently has filmed a couple scenes for most shows, for most of these shows.
Yes.
So we're gonna see. I'm so excited, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh, that would have been so cool!" But it definitely would have taken the wind out of the sails for the reveal at the end, which is why they did it. But the other reason they did it was because they had not announced that Hayden Christensen was coming back. So I was like, that would have been really cool, but... And then, guys, the reveal at the end of that episode.
Care to shed some light on that?
Of course. When she's fighting, first of all, when she's fighting the magistrate, who apparently has been confirmed was one of the, or probably the last surviving member of the Night Sisters. I don't know if you guys heard that yet.
I did not hear that.
A makeup artist who did her makeup posted on Instagram a picture of her and said, and it was the name of the actress, and said, portraying the name of the magistrate, I can't remember the name of the character, the last surviving member of the Night Sisters from Dathomir. And that got taken down like a day later.
Yikes.
So she is a Night Sister, one of the last remaining Night Sisters. Because she does talk about how her people were wiped out, and she ended up getting a job with the Empire to help create weapons and stuff like that. So obviously she probably uses magic to help them create weapons. But there's that. But she disarms her, pulls her in close, and she goes... Which also, I have another reason after this. She says, "Where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?"
Yep.
I passed out. I almost passed out from not breathing.
.exe quit working.
I almost passed out, bro.
That episode was so good.
And
there was so much.
She goes, and it connected so many dots. I'm like, oh my god, she's still looking for him. And I love Dave Filoni because people were asking the question, does this take place after the Rebels prelude? The little post-credit thing, the little post scene at the end of Rebels where they said it takes place, where Ahsoka picks up Sabine at the end of Rebels, and Dave Filoni said that was, and that's after Episode 6, that was after the Battle of Endor. Mm-hmm. They don't know if this takes place before she goes to pick up Sabine, or if this takes place after she's already picked up Sabine. So we don't even know if that scene with Sabine in Rebels has happened yet. So, because Dave Filoni's a little sneak and won't say anything, but the answers were in the episode. If people looked closely, if I was able to look close enough on first viewing and stuff like that, the HK droids have the 7th Fleet symbol, which is Thrawn's fleet symbol. So
I did not pick up on that.
No, I didn't see it until someone posted it and said that, yeah, the HK droids that were fighting Mando and stuff, hey, they have the 7th Fleet symbol, which is Thrawn's fleet.
Yeah.
But it just opened so many doors, dude. That's how we knew that the future was huge with this. But I mean, after that, we can kind of fast forward through the next couple episodes, because, I mean, what did you guys think? I mean, I know you guys have both watched Rebels.
I loved Rebels, but talking about the magistrate being a survivor of the Night Sisters, she could totally be Shalesh. Because Shalesh escaped the Night Sister, or Dathomir. She basically left it and lived alone on, oh man, I can't remember the planet right off the top of my head, but she basically left and lived alone and she hung out with a Wookiee.
Yep.
It could be her, but that's a long shot, honestly. At some point, picked up by Thrawn and all that. But
yeah. Well, and that's Thrawn. Thrawn is everything that the Emperor is not. He takes his time. He's decisive, and he's also willing to, even if they're non-humans, he's willing to, if they're useful, he's willing to trust them.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and yeah. Yep. The Emperor's biggest downfall was, wasn't really a downfall. It was a very big perk, but also kind of a downfall, was accepting Thrawn into his high command as a Grand Admiral, because he was a non-human, and it goes against everything that the Emperor, he hated non-humans, and he was incredibly racist to anything that wasn't a human race, and Grand Admiral Thrawn was big on bringing in non-humans because he knew of their benefits, and it would totally tie into his character if he brought in a Dathomirian woman to help lead his technological advances because of what they're able to do with their magic.
Yep.
So it just would have been so cool. And to tie in with Thrawn, what I'm super excited about is, I think I sent it to you guys, but Lars Mikkelsen has apparently been casted to play him.
Yeah, I remember.
He'll be perfect.
And Mikkelsen does the voice in Rebels.
Dude, I'm actually, the Ahsoka series, I'm so excited for it. It's gonna tie into Rebels so much.
Dude,
if
I had to rank them, it's literally Obi-Wan and Ahsoka is right at it, man. Like, they're neck and neck. Yep. The more I hear about the Ahsoka series, the more it inches up to Obi-Wan. But then I'm going to hear something about Obi-Wan with Anakin and stuff like that, and it's going to inch it up just a little bit more. It's just...
Dude, the Obi-Wan series is going to be so good as well.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot wait.
And we're going to get into that in a second, as soon as we finish talking about The Mandalorian here. But I'm so excited for what they're doing. And then... Because then, I think the next episode was where we get Boba back, right? That's when they go to Tython?
Yes.
Because they go to Tython. There was no filler episode after that. They go to Tython right away.
Yes.
And
this is the episode where... Yes, they go to Tython.
Tython, Boba shows up. We see Boba be an absolute badass. And the Dark Troopers show up and take Grogu. And then...
Dude, when he reaches out in that episode through the Force, I'm sure everybody thought, like, he's reaching out to Luke. Because that's...
Exactly.
Almost exactly what happened to Luke in episode 8.
I was there were so many possibilities that it could have been, because I was on board with I thought he could have been reaching out to anybody, because I was at the point where I didn't think that they would have the balls to do Luke. I didn't think they would do it.
Right.
I thought he would be the only choice. I'm like, he's the only choice, but I didn't think they'd have the balls to do it. So my brain kept saying Kyle Katarn, why can't I think of his name? Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order. Cal Kestis.
Cal Kestis.
I thought it could have been one of those two.
Oh, that actually would have been super good.
Ezra. Maybe Ezra. But the only reason I never thought Ezra was because I'm like, if Ahsoka's still looking for Thrawn, Ezra's still with him. So then my only other thought would have been... Kyle Katarn or Cal Kestis. But then my main option was Luke, but I said I didn't think they'd have the balls to do it, man.
Well, and just knowing that Ben was supposedly his first apprentice.
Yeah.
I didn't think the timeline supported that, and that's another thing that I know we've talked about. Is potential timeline shenanigans, but
Yeah. But I mean,
that's for another time.
Well, it was crazy to me because I didn't know what he was doing. But the other reason why I thought Cal Kestis was because when he reached out in the forest and you said that blue like force shield or whatever, the symbols around it were very Jedi Fallen Order, were very Cal Kestis-esque, which is why I thought Cal Kestis. But
that would have been interesting.
But then it's like my brain just kept bouncing from Luke was the safest option, but would they have the balls to do it? Cal Kestis would have been a cool option, but that would have then now ruined the possibility that he could die in the second game. Like, we know he'll live if he's in this.
I mean, yes.
And that's why my main option was Kyle Katarn. Like, I thought it was going to be Kyle Katarn, who was because they brought in the Dark Troopers, and Kyle Katarn was in that game, Jedi Dark Forces. So that's why that's what I thought, because Kyle Katarn's one of Luke's apprentices in the Legends books.
But again, I don't know if the timeline would have supported that either. So your train of thought is correct. Mm-hmm. I do like it, but I just don't think he's gonna have apprentices at that point. Mm-hmm. And if he does, it's going to be an infant Ben. Mm-hmm. But this is yeah.
Well, and again, Ben at this point is, I think he's 4. He's 4 or 5. Ben was born very recently after the Battle of Endor. And in the novelization of the books, of the movies, of the sequel trilogy, it's confirmed that Ben was Luke's first apprentice at 10. So that doesn't happen for 5 years.
Yep.
Which is why I have an interesting theory that we may have time to talk about at the end of this, but if we don't, not a big deal. We can talk about it later. But it's interesting because Luke, everything pointed to Luke, but my brain was telling me there is no way they're going to do it, which is why my brain kept thinking of other options. I mean, who did you guys think? Were you guys completely 100% on board that it was going to be Luke, or did you guys think it was going to be somebody else?
My only thought was Luke, just because I don't have the background knowledge that you do, Wyatt.
Yeah.
Dark Forces is a game that I think I maybe played the beginning of, and that's it. So I don't have that background. I thought it could have been Cal, but I mean that is set fairly far after the events of the game, so I didn't think they would do that.
Yeah.
I thought it was Luke, or they were gonna introduce a new character.
Yeah. What about you, Blake?
Well, since we were talking about the theories going around that time stuff was going to happen, I didn't know who it could, because there's so many possibilities that could have been.
Yeah.
That could have happened. It could have been Luke, of course. It could have been anybody from like Legends. It really could have. It could have been some of the Jedi survivors.
Yeah.
It could have been Mace Windu. Like, there's just so many possibilities that could have happened.
Yeah.
Mace Windu did peek through my mind once or twice.
Yeah, Mace popped in, but I was like, again, I thought Mace Windu would have required way more balls than Luke at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. To be honest with you, this is off topic a little bit, but I don't believe Mace Windu died that night. Darth Maul fell, cut in half. He lived. There's just so much, and with Mace Windu being knowledgeable of the Sith ways and using Sith styles in his lightsaber ways, there could have been so many possibilities. Anyways, I didn't know, and I didn't want to start guessing, because when I saw the last episode, I went through so many emotions. Like, just the last 10 minutes.
Which we'll get
the
to,
emotions
we'll
I felt.
We'll get to that in a second.
But I didn't know.
Do you guys remember the leaked image of all of the stormtroopers that somebody took while they were hiking?
Yeah, from episode 6.
That is from episode 6, and that was a year before that episode aired. I connected those dots, and I was like, oh my lord.
Do you know why they actually went out and filmed out there?
Why?
Because they couldn't get the volumes to work. They couldn't. The volumes that they were filming on, like those new, like the gigantic LED screens that they use. Mm-hmm. They couldn't get it to get the right terrain that they wanted it to be, and they couldn't get the right set built. So they're just like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just go out there. Let's just go out to the Hollywood Hills, and let's film. And of course, obviously, people saw them, but that I just thought that was a cool little tidbit of information where they're like, the biggest issue they had was they couldn't get the volume to get the right what they wanted for the scene. Like Robert Rodriguez wanted this specific way for it to be set, and I was like, that's kind of cool. But little side piece information I thought was kind of interesting.
That is interesting. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why they were out there. But yeah, there were so many possibilities, and then episode 7.
This is where a lot of the episode 2 is really where the callback to the Prison Break episode starts, because his ship is now on the New Republic's radar.
Yeah.
But then here they bring back the quote-unquote leader,
Bill Burr,
of the Prison Break.
Mm-hmm. Bill Burr.
Yes, I thought that was a really cool callback, and I did like that, and it made the episode have more substance.
I really liked this episode. People did not like this episode, and I loved this episode. There's a specific reason why I love this episode too.
We also completely missed the fact that the Empire did take Grogu in episode 6. Like he just
they snatched him.
I mean, I wasn't shocked, but I was like, there's still 2 episodes. Why?
I know, yeah, I was stunned. But, I mean, Blake, what did you think? Were you a fan of episode 7 with Bill Burr, them going to the factory, or were you not on board with that episode?
I was. I felt there was definitely some good character development there, especially with Jen. You know?
Yeah. Well, and that's the episode where we finally got to see Din start to really not care about his helmet. Him not having his helmet on around others. His care for that child and getting that information that he needed was much more important to him than following his creed, keeping his creed. So he took that helmet off as soon as he thought about that. And I think my favorite part was because Bill Burr wasn't going in there. He didn't want to go in there because he thought he was gonna. I can't think of his character's name.
I can't either.
But he wouldn't go in there because he was afraid the guy would recognize him, and he watched Din give up his creed to save this child. And then when he gets stopped by that general, or by the commander or captain or whatever, Bill Burr's like, all right, you know what? He gave up his creed. I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit, and I'm gonna go help him here. And he walked right in there and knew the protocols and knew the code signs and helped him get out of it. And then they have a drink with this captain or whatever. And that, once we're getting into that, is where I really started to really like this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Fun factoid: did you know that commander guy played the Night King in Game of Thrones?
Yep.
I did not know that, actually.
Yep.
That man is a bad guy.
Yes, he is.
So many things.
Played the Night King in Game of Thrones. But
he also helped. I know the movie is not liked by a lot of people, but Hannibal Rising.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the main reasons Hannibal Lecter was born.
Yep.
You know, like.
But I think we really got to see how good of an actor Bill Burr is.
Mm-hmm.
And you really got he nailed how people with PTSD feel, because he has that PTSD from the war. And do you guys know what I'm sure you guys do, but I'm asking just to make conversation. Oh no, why can't I think of it now?
Come on. Spit it out, buddy.
Oh no. Project or all right, I'm giving it away. From Battlefront 2, when
is this the campaign?
Yeah.
Haven't beat it.
Oh, I think it's early on in the campaign though. Like it's like pretty early, like right in the beginning, when they find out that the Emperor is dead. They they use Project. I gotta look it up. Hold on. Keep talking, you guys. I'll look at this up real quick. What do you guys think of that scene with the guy?
It was great. I loved how it canonized Battlefront 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, just Episode 7 was a really good jumping off point for the finale. I mean, like, and then do you guys Episode 2?
I remember
the subwoofer bombs.
Mm-hmm.
They brought those back, and my
Oh,
jaw once again just
seismic charges, baby. The seismic charges, the most
bass
beautiful
drops.
sound in Star Wars.
Yep.
And
that Episode 2 sound design.
Operation Cinder, by the way.
That sounds very familiar, but I started the campaign when the game came out, and then I haven't bothered to beat it since then.
Operation Cinder is they have like this army of like satellites, and what they do is they basically alter the weather of a planet to cause catastrophic electrical storms. And it basically renders the planet useless and basically destroys all of its resources, in turn basically killing all of its people. And they did it to planets that refused to give themselves to the Empire, basically, while the New Republic was trying to start rolling in. So what the Empire was trying to do is, if they're not going to help the Empire, they're going to destroy this planet and destroy its resources so that the Rebellion, the Republic, can't use it and have it join them. So they were like, we're just going to destroy planets. We're going to destroy their resources. The Republic can't use them. If we can't have them, the Republic can't have them. And that basically then also turned into they were willing to kill their own people. And Bill Burr, his character reveals in that moment he was on one of those planets that they had Operation Cinder on, and he just watched so many of his brothers die. And the captain says, for the glory of the Empire, and he realizes that this guy doesn't give a damn. And he realizes that him seeing how Mando cared and the others cared, Cara Dune cared for the child so much, he's willing to give up his creed. And this guy's like, we don't give a crap about our people. We're willing to destroy this entire planet and everyone on it just for the Empire. Like, we don't care about people. And I think I was just shocked to see him pull that gun out and just kill him right there. Also, rip the poor stormtrooper that was just wanting to eat his lunch that saw it happen.
He just looks over and gets blasted.
He's standing there holding his food, and Bill Burr leans back and shoots him, and I'm like, that poor guy. He did nothing wrong.
He probably hated him.
Yeah, all these guys hated this guy. And honestly, the only reason I think all those other stormtroopers started fighting was because they killed Lunch Guy, who was probably really good friends with a lot of them. They probably hated the commander, but you killed Lunch Guy. Like, that pissed him off, I bet.
He was 3 weeks from going home.
Yeah, he was 3 weeks. He was 3 weeks from retirement. But also, why did we skip over Boba's paint job?
True. Did Boba do that, or was that just the outlaw?
No. It was dirty when he got it in 6. It was all dirty and scarred up from like the acid of the Sarlacc pit and stuff, and it was like a brand new paint job in episode 6 at the beginning.
6? Was it really?
Because remember, he walks out and we see him and it's all super fresh, and Bill Burr goes, "Oh, for a second I thought you were someone else," and then Mando comes walking down the ramp of Slave One.
I do remember that. I just don't remember.
No, yeah, dude.
Oh no, yeah, his armor is super beat up in the first episode. You're right.
Yeah, so I just thought that super cool, and I love how some fans are split. Fans are like, I like battle damaged, and some fans are like, I like the brand new, and it's the friendly Star Wars.
I like Boba.
Yeah, I like Boba. Yeah, but no, I thought that was really cool, and I thought the ending of that episode with the seismic charge and the destroying of the factory, and then the nice little hologram threat from Din to Gideon was a great way to lead into the finale.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But
And how about that finale though? How about
man,
the culmination of season 1 and 2 coming together?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
I think we can skip over. I think the idea that the whole fight bringing in, we saw a live action Mandalorian gauntlet when he went to go pick up Bo-Katan, and he got Bo, and I love the little fight between Boba and Sasha Banks. I love she's like I didn't think sidekicks spoke, or he's like, are you serious? We don't need this. And she's like, I didn't know sidekicks had speaking parts. And he goes, careful, little one. And I'm just like, oh, don't mess with him. And I loved I don't know if you guys have seen the meme. I meant to send it to you, but I forgot because I was working. But it was when Bo-Katan stands up and goes, I've heard your voice thousands of times. Because of the Clone Wars. Someone made that a meme, and she goes, I've heard your voice thousands of times, and then it was on Boba, it said, actually, that was D. Bradley Baker you heard. So I thought that was kind of funny. But I love the little, like, the nod to him being a clone. I also love in Season 6, when we find out they re-canonized Boba as a Mandalorian. They are Mandalorians. Jango was a foundling.
Yep.
So I love that they recanonized that. I thought that was really cool. But he is a Mandalorian, and they join up with him, and they go and they fight, and we see how tough the Dark Troopers are, and that it's gonna take more than just them to defeat them. And
I guess it did canonize he's a Mandalorian, but not Mandalorian. He's a Mandalorian cult, I guess, part of the Mandalorian cult with the Death Watch.
No. Foundlings can be. Din is a foundling of Death Watch, but you can be a foundling from anywhere. So like, if any kind of Mandalorian finds an orphan child and takes him in, they're a foundling.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah. So we don't know what clan they're from. I'm assuming they're from Clan Fett, because there is a Fett clan in Mandalorian history. But that's again, that's possibly for another video. But I do think that he is. I don't know if he's Children of the Watch, but he is a foundling. But I like when Boba dipped out in that episode. He just dipped out because that's the first hint that it's probably going to be Luke. Because Luke and Boba crossing paths would kind of make it interesting because of episode 6.
Ooh. Yeah.
So him dipping out was kind of your first hint that it's probably going to be Luke, but no one knew who it was going to be. And I'm going to tell you what, man, they were breaking down that door. And also, let's think, before we get into that, Din won the Darksaber, bruh.
He did. That entire scene, just the fact that he has
Din's the ruler of Mandalore.
Beskar staff. That was insane. That fight itself.
He has a Beskar staff and the Darksaber.
So he's unstoppable.
Dude, he's the ruler of Mandalore. Like, and I think that's what we're gonna see in season 3. I think
the begrudging ruler of Mandalore.
I think it's going to be
Bo-Katan's face.
Oh, dude. Well, because I think that Dave is gonna have to, because again he kind of split fans, because fans are like, wait a minute, but Sabine just gave the Darksaber to Bo. Why can't Bo just accept it from Mando like she did from Sabine? So they're gonna have to kind of work with that a little bit. I'm sure he'll figure it out, because he always does. But dude, he's the leader of Mandalore, and I think we're going to possibly get, now every king does need a queen, so there's that possibility.
You think she's gonna settle?
Probably not, because I do think season 3, to make it interesting, will be like another Mandalorian Civil War type story, where she's got her and her followers, and I think we're gonna see Mandalore in season 3, and I think Din's gonna have his followers because he is the rightful ruler. And because Moff Gideon is alive, that's going to get back to the Mandalorians that are still alive.
You know, I can support that. I mean, because if you think about it, we never saw the Armorer die. The Armorer could definitely be alive and help Mando.
Oh, the Children of the Watch would support him indefinitely. Death Watch would support him if there are still some Death Watch around. It's just it's interesting to kind of see where that's going to go, because that is obviously going to be a focus in season 3, in my opinion. But I don't know.
I think it could be. I mean, because I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of Grogu in season 3.
I don't
Maybe
either.
some.
I don't either.
I have a feeling he's going to get his own series now.
He's too big of a character to not have around in that until we do get an announcement of his own series. So he will be in season 3.
He's not going to be the main focus. Though.
No,
I think, like you said, it's going to be more of Mandalorian stuff.
Yes, I agree. And
to put it bluntly,
yes. But then, like I said, man, we've got those Dark Troopers breaking down that door, and then you hear the alarm going off, and you see an X-Wing flying around, and as soon as I saw that X-Wing, dude, my heart sank. I stopped breathing. Like, I couldn't breathe.
I'm gonna tell you my exact mindset through that entire part of the episode. I was in a Discord call with a few friends when I was watching it, and I just like, is that Red? Is that Luke?
Is that Red 5?
Is that Luke?
Is that Red 5?
and then he comes out and he has a lightsaber. It's like, is that Luke?
You see it in the black and white.
I'm just
first.
sitting here, just like having a mental breakdown. Just, is it Luke? That hat, is it Luke? And then he like takes his hood off, and I was like, it's Luke.
Yep. I'm gonna.
Oh my god.
And now I'm gonna tell you mine, and then I want to hear Blake's. So mine was, I'm sitting there, I saw the X-Wing fly in, and I'm just like, like I did that with my breath, and Rihanna's like looking at me, and I'm on the phone with my dad. Like, I'm on the phone with my dad while we're watching it. And my dad's like, Wyatt. I'm like, He's like, Wyatt. And Cara Dune goes, 1 X-Wing? Great, we're saved. And I went, yeah, you are. And that it slowly pulls into the docking bay, and then you hear the music change. I'm like, oh. And you just see him walk in the black and white. And then you see Grogu senses him. And then he starts fighting in the black and white, and you see it, and you hear Bo-Katan go, a Jedi? And I'm like, yes, it is.
Not just a Jedi.
And then you see the shot with the green saber. He's walking in, and he just beats the shit out of these Dark Troopers. And I'm still sitting there, and like I can't breathe, and I can hear my dad is like sobbing. Like I hear him on the other line going, and I'm like, oh my god, and I'm just like, check his hand just to be sure. And then you get the next shot, and it's his gloved hand holding the lightsaber, and it just keeps going. And then he goes in. You get the hallway scene. Oh. Then he goes in there.
Oh my god.
And then I get that initial first question. I'm like, is it gonna be CG or is it gonna be Sebastian Stan? And
I really think they dropped the ball on that.
I don't, because here's why. I think they wanted the emotional touch of it to be as close to Mark Hamill as possible. So they did a Mark Hamill type CG deepfake render, and then they had Mark Hamill do the voice. I think they wanted it to be emotional, because I think there are still people out there who are like not quite on board with Sebastian Stan yet. If you give us a Luke series with Grogu and you cast Sebastian Stan, that's going to give people time to warm up to him as they see him in the role. In this,
he is literally the best possible choice.
Oh yeah, but like I'm saying, while you're watching this 10-minute scene, you're already emotional as it is, and I think there would have been people out there that as soon as he took the hood off, and if it were Sebastian Stan, there would have been people who would have been like, that's not Mark Hamill, that's not Luke, they would have lost the emotional tie. So I think they wanted it to be as emotional as possible. Do a deep fake. It literally.
They've seen how he looks as Luke, correct? They do know. What I'm
saying is it's like a 5-minute scene. Keep it emotional. Keep people invested. They want it to be Luke. Let's give them Luke. Let's just give them a deep fake. Let's give them Mark Hamill's voice, because it was Mark Hamill who did the voice, and let's make it memorable, because he pulls that hood off and you hear Din goes, "Are you a Jedi?" and he goes, "I am," and he tries to get Grogu and he says, Din goes, "He doesn't want to go with you," and he goes, "He wants your permission. He is strong with the Force, but talent without training is nothing." Screw the story of Rey in that one line, in my opinion. But
I mean, she is the granddaughter of the Emperor, to be fair.
But talent without training is nothing, and the fact that they made her incredibly talented in the Force and she had zero training, basically what they're saying there is that to Dave Filoni and what he's learned, that means nothing.
No, and you're right.
So that's what I'm saying. But in that moment, they didn't know she was the granddaughter of the Emperor. They had no idea until they made the choice in 9. Like that's kind of the connection.
Yeah, but now we know that.
Yeah.
And now we're sitting like, well,
but
okay, maybe.
Before we get into that, because it's almost time for us to end, I want to hear Blake's thoughts.
Okay, so as soon as I saw the X-wing,
I'm smiling again just thinking about it, man.
the pit of my stomach, I got butterflies.
Yeah.
I was like,
good description.
Oh, I'm not gonna tell myself it's him. I know it's him, but I'm not gonna do it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Once he got out, all the droids stopped, or all the dark troopers stopped.
Because
I was like, they're like, oh no. Okay, this is a real danger.
They recognized he was the threat. Yeah.
And he just started slicing and dicing through him, and then I saw that green lightsaber. I knew, like, I couldn't deny myself anymore. I was like, oh, here it is. And then, like, I felt the tears well, I wasn't letting them go. I was like, nope, stay in there.
I cried.
You ain't doing it.
Cried.
He's walking through, gets to the elevator, comes up, just obliterates those waiting for him. He gets into that room. Everyone sees him. He takes the his hood off, and I was like, "Oh God, it's Luke!" And like,
yeah,
when Grogu, Luke isn't what made me bawl. Like I was there. He got me there. I was there.
Yep.
It was when Grogu was looking into Din's eyes, and he took his helmet off.
Yeah.
And Grogu put his hand on Din's face. I was done.
Because that was the first time he saw his face.
I was a blubbering. I was a blubbering mess.
And he sets him down and he's hugging his leg, and then in comes R2, and it's like,
yep.
Which he then turns around and everyone's like, oh.
Did anybody else notice when Grogu looked at R2? I felt like they knew each other.
No, he did. I think he recognized him. People are saying, "Oh my God, it's a friend. Oh my God, he's a droid. I like droids. Droids can understand me." And I'm like, nah.
You know that
he
droid.
Knows you.
You know that droid.
He's been around the temple when you were training. You know him.
That's
why I think R2 could be the one who saved him, because he knows him. He's safe around R2.
Yeah. That whole 10 minutes, man. Like,
a lot of.
I went from loving this series. I went from just loving it to it's the only series I'm ever gonna fully invest myself in that much again.
So
I was like, no, I'm in this to finish.
Exactly. And someone posted a thing that said that Grogu knew who he was. He knew he was a Skywalker. And that's why he didn't really want to go with him. Because he knew he was a Skywalker. The last Skywalker he knew killed everyone Grogu was close to. Someone said that he knew he was a Skywalker and he was afraid. And in comes R2, and that he probably recognized R2, yes, but someone also said maybe R2 told him, hey, he is a Skywalker, but he saved the other one. This one's cool. this one's pretty cool. This one destroyed the bad guys.
It was back to what I was saying about Grogu touching Din's face. It just threw me back to so many memories of the series, especially Luke and Anakin scene when it's just like, let me see you with my own eyes. I was like, oh no, because when that happened, that scene immediately came to mind.
Yep. Oh yeah, me too.
I was like,
me too.
oh yeah, this whole thing is just
Yep. And there's these guys on YouTube that were like, the next scene should totally be, because after Luke walks away, they said the next scene the first scene in season 3 should totally be, they're all just standing there and they go, dude, was that Luke Skywalker? Pretty sure. I wanted to ask him for an autograph, but I was like, that would be really funny. Was that Luke? I don't think any of them know who that was. Like, obviously Din doesn't know. I don't think Bo knows who it is. The only person in that group who I think had any inkling of an idea of who that was Moff Gideon. That's why he tried to kill himself.
Yep.
Because he knows the only Jedi that could possibly destroy them is him. And he showed up. And I think that's why he knew.
They're just droids.
Gideon's
a
like,
lightsaber to any droid is kind of instant death.
That's true, but Dark Troopers are designed to withstand anything. And that, I think it just showed that Luke is just that
OP,
yeah. Like, he's incredibly OP. And
it was when he made the ball out of that one.
Oh yeah, it's just Skywalker crunch. Yeah, like I had a theory on how I wanted the ending to go, like whether it was Ahsoka who showed up or somebody. Like, they're flying away in Slave One, and I really thought a really cool ending would have been, you see, they left Gideon in his ship, and they show up, and as they're flying away, a Star Destroyer pops in out of nowhere, and you see underneath the Star Destroyer, and it's that design on the Chimera underneath Thrawn's Star Destroyer.
Ooh,
and
that would have been neat.
The shot you see is an Imperial agent walk up behind this guy standing there in a white outfit, and you see dark blue hair and you see blue skin, and he walks up and he goes, we have Moff Gideon's light cruiser in sight, Grand Admiral. What shall we do? And you just see a blue head turn. You barely see his face, and you just hear, you may open fire. And he just destroys Gideon's ship. And
that
just kills
awesome.
Gideon because he failed. And the rest of them just look behind them in disbelief, and they just dip out into hyperspace. And that's the end of the season. I thought that would have been crazy. But
that would have been insane.
I think they're saving that for Ahsoka.
They are. They have to.
But, man, dude, again, it opens so many doors, and I think we are going to see Grogu in season 3. I think we do see Luke again in season 3. It'll be maybe an episode, and we'll maybe see him for 10 minutes. But he's your biggest seller, right? Actually, Cara Dune's the biggest toy seller right now, but Grogu...
Is she really?
She is, yeah. She's actually the hottest toy sales right now are Cara Dune.
I did not know that.
But Grogu was your biggest seller for a long time, and he's your second biggest seller right now. And actually, Luke Skywalker toys are selling off the shelves right now, too. He's their third biggest seller. And it just shows that fans want Cara, fans want Luke, and fans want Grogu. And I don't think you can have season 3 without them. And I think eventually Grogu will show back up with Mando. But I do think that ending with Luke showing up really did mess up the sequels, and we'll talk about that in another video. And the one thing I'll leave with that is the novelization said that Luke's first apprentice was Ben when Ben was 10 years old. Luke has a new apprentice, Grogu, 5 years before that.
Yep.
That single scene single-handedly, I think, retconned the sequels. I think they've already retconned the sequels. I think they have a plan to retcon the sequels, and I think Kathleen Kennedy is no longer in power. I think Filoni and Favreau are completely in the driver's seat of Lucasfilm right now, and Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are 100% on board.
Yep, I'm not too sad about that. The monster can leave. Mm-hmm. No more nightmares for me.
I think her contract is up. I looked it up. Her contract is up at the end of 2021. I think she is the face of the company. She's a figurehead for Lucasfilm, and I think when her contract is up, they quietly let her leave without firing her, without turning too many heads. And I think she's done at the end of the year. And I think that paves the way for someone like a Kevin Feige to come in and take over Lucasfilm.
I hope so. Honestly, I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that is almost wishful thinking.
Yep. But like I said,
unfortunately,
we're going to save that for another video, because when we talk about Disney Investors Day and stuff like that, we'll get into it, because I have a lot of theories with a lot of these shows that I think will add to the idea of retconning the sequels.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we'll talk about that in another video, but Brenner, if you want to take us out.
Oh, I get the honors?
You can have the honors of taking us out here.
Well, this video went a little astray from our original plans, but, that's why we block out 2 hours of time.
I didn't expect us to talk about Season 1 and Season 2 of Mando so long, but it was...
That is because it is arguably one of the best pieces of Star Wars media. Hands down.
I agree.
Especially after Season 2, because it set up so much more.
Yep.
I mean, arguably it saved Star Wars.
It arguably saved Star Wars, if you think about it.
See, yes, but I love Episode 9. I don't think Star Wars was ever in danger. Next time.
Next time. Because I have things that might change your mind on that, Brenner. I haven't talked to you about those yet.
But if you stopped by and you enjoyed listening to us ramble on about The Mandalorian and everything else that we talked about, be sure to hit that like button, sub, and hit that notification bell. Every week, we're going to do another one of these beautiful, beautiful podcasts. And I'm excited for the next episode of the Nerd Archives because we're going to argue a lot.
Yep. We just got the taste of that.
Oh. But with that being said, we are going to dip out of the video. Was a pleasure.
It was.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.